Ooh.
So much shit. I can't wait. All right.
Yeah. Where's Bitcoin at now?
It's like 6,300, but it's also about to get washed out. And we're about to
Right.
double up on our position on alts. Trust me, Azzy. We're about to eat real good. Don't worry about nothing, Azzy. Come on, Azzy. We're about to eat good. I think we're live.
Yep.
You guys did not hear that. Actually, I'm terrified. This is horrible. The market is crashing.
It's too late now. You can't do a redo.
Damage already done.
Well,
let me check to make sure we're live. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm frankly not surprised with what I've found out.
Man, this mosquito's trying to bite me and stuff. Yeah, but we should be good, Asmeret. Yeah, I'll let you start. Talk to us. How is your Terrence might come and you're tagged in? Where am I tagged? Let me see. Hold on. Oh, here we go.
Let me see if I see the video. Bear with me.
Okay, now I see it. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Give me a moment. Sorry, I don't see it.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. It's not on my page yet, but it will be on my page in a second.
Okay. Can anyone else see?
Yeah, they can see it from the J.A.R.V.i.Z. Yeah, go ahead. So go ahead, Asmeret. Well, let me just preface this real quick before you get started, Asmeret. The market is taking a discount. I'm really, really excited about this. I think a lot of things that I've been speaking about are going to come to fruition. And I think it's a real opportunity for people to make some money, to save some money, and make some money, reposition. So I'm really, really excited. So the market's on the move. I'm actually trying to, get in positions and do what I do. So while I'm doing that, great time for Asmeret to speak. I know she has some heat for you guys. She gave me a few little things the night before, some of the things that she was seeing and developments in the market, and it just kind of blew my mind open. So I'll let her do her thing. I'm gonna be off camera today, guys, because I'm like in pajamas and I didn't even brush my teeth. Like, I'm funky. So like, I don't want to subject you guys to that. And then the market is moving, so I'm like going nuts. I haven't slept properly. So I'm gonna let Asmeret have the stage, talk your stuff, Azzy, and then I'll come back around. I'll share the screen so people can see what I'm seeing.
Right. Do you want, how long do you want approximately? 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do the charts?
Do your thing, Asmeret. I whatever, woohoo, getting alerts. So this is what I like to see. Okay. Okay.
Because we want to be live in the action too. So I will, just give me an idea. If you want to step in, just interrupt me, okay?
All right, that's cool. Do your thing. Appreciate it.
All right, cool. Hey guys, thank you very much for joining us. As you've heard from Aking Risen, the market is popping right now. So yeah, several things going on, and I wanted to highlight two areas which will speak fundamentally to the state of play in the market and where we think we may be within the next 6 to 12 months. So I'll start off with Gemini. I know I think I mentioned it to you guys before in regards to Gemini, the Winklevoss twins issuing a US pegged crypto. And there are a few concerns that I have about it, but just to bring you up to speed, there was, by the way, they weren't hiding anything. They weren't being sneaky or shady. In fact, they had stated this in their white paper. But what had come to light was that their USD pegged crypto is the GUSD. Unfortunately, it can be frozen. It can be frozen, and that concerned me for several reasons. So just to give you an idea, the Gemini dollar, they're trying to create a stable coin to compete with Tether, to compete with other stable coins, and this will basically allow people to use it for trading and arbitrage purposes, and it's they're trying to make it trusted and regulated, a digital representation of the US dollar that's trusted and regulated. And so it is subject to regulatory oversight, specifically with the New York State Department of Financial Services. And also it would be subject to New York banking law and other US laws as well. There is a bit of a concern with that, which I'm going to break down in a moment. So if you remember, previously they did get involved, they did submit ETFs, which were rejected. And these guys have been very early adopters of Bitcoin, of crypto. They came into the game relatively early. And so they have a lot to benefit. And they're basically trying to be that gap, be the bridge to the gap between having the best of both worlds. So with cryptocurrencies, they're fully bullish on the space. However, they want there to be regulation as well, like the benefits of regulation. They do want to work with the US authorities to come to a consensus, come to an agreement where, we can have both situations. Yes, so with Gemini USD, it's a centralized stable coin similar to Tether. It would be implemented as a ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. And this mechanism to allow it to freeze funds, they do tout it as something of it being necessary, because part of their compliance, and it is mandatory if they want the regulators to be involved and have compliance there, that there has to be a way to be able to have a mechanism to stop any, if something goes wrong, they want that mechanism to be there to protect investors, is what they say. And specifically, it's to stop any illicit trading or money laundering, terrorist financing. That's the official line, right? That's what they're saying. However, the concern is the fact that the control would be maintained by Gemini, but also in part with the government, with the regulators as well. At any time, they can come in and decide. I mean, they can quote the official reason, but if they, wanted to manipulate it or shut it down, they can do so. And this is the main concern with die-hard cryptocurrency investors and enthusiasts, and people that do support the idea of a decentralized industry. So it goes against the ethos of what we've been saying, what cryptocurrency, what blockchain technology, the advantages of being in this space. And it, again, is this fine balance, isn't it? You're trying to strike, you're trying to find the best of both worlds, but the reason why we have an alternative system to the traditional systems is because we want to get away from the control that they have over our lives, specifically over our money. So this does ring to some people, and certainly to me, it is a cause for concern, because if at some point, if you're holding the GUSD, whether it's in a bear market or bull market, and you have a substantial amount, let's say, if it was, and we always preach you should invest more than you can afford to lose. But let's say you were in the middle of a critical trade, and for some reason, hopefully you're not doing it for illegal reasons or anything, but theoretically, at any point, Gemini has the power to freeze your GUSDs. And the fact that you'll always have that in the back of your mind is something which I'm concerned about. But also, It's supposed to create stability, supposed to create confidence and trust and transparency. But again, it's like the government getting involved and Gemini being an enabler to that. Of course, there's money to be made, and you have to ask yourself if the trade-off is worth it. If you want the peace of mind and security that the government say that they can provide, and Gemini say that they can provide, by all means, you can certainly have the approach where, you know, it's a risk that I weighed, and I'm still willing to use their services, their coins. That's fine. I've weighed up everything. I'm happy with that. But long term, we'll have to see how this develops, because if there's other competitors coming out, and if they become centralized, there will be more and more investors coming into the space, and they may be lured into we may have this situation where the industry is full of centralized exchanges or platforms, where essentially the government is using that to perhaps spy on this, another form of spying on their citizens, and it's contradictory to the main reason why Satoshi Nakamoto, why developers came into the space. So the idea of decentralization is effectively spreading the control, spreading the responsibility across different networks, across different nodes. And that is that's precisely one of the reasons why the governments around the world do feel threatened. They do feel something must be done, and companies, especially in the financial industry, they are concerned and finding ways to capitalize, to find ways to build upon the space, and have it probably like a digital version of what they're currently doing, but to also have to market it and promote it as, you know what, guys, we have proven to you guys, we keep your money safe, we have a great reputation, and this and that. They will sell it on the basis of, you know us better the devil you know, and we've got a crypto version for you, where you can have the best of both worlds. You're going to have the security aspect. They may try and scare you and say, look at how many of these hacks are happening in this space. Here we are, we're going to ensure this and this and this. You're insured and protected. Give your funds to us, and we will babysit your funds. We will look after it for you. No need to worry. And they will, I mean, in my opinion, I think they will dress it up as something to be happy about, to be at ease about. But I think it's not just, I don't see it as damage control, but I definitely see it as a proactive approach to mitigate the potential decline of the traditional the traditional approach. As more and more people come into the space and get educated, this also, to me, does indicate that if it really didn't matter to them at all, they simply would not be involved in the space. It's not just the financial gains that they're seeing, but what essentially that they're afraid of is that citizens taking back control. And obviously they talk about transparency, but these businesses and these organizations and some of these stakeholders that for decades, if not centuries, have been masters of manipulation, masters of deceit, masters of basically a perfect encapsulation and representation of human greed. Because if it was such a great system, the current systems we have, we wouldn't be having corruption. We wouldn't be having innocent people being jailed for whistleblowing when things do go wrong. And we have these laws to protect us, but they also know how to navigate around these laws. And issues, if you've noticed as well, in this day and age, terrorism is obviously a huge concern for everyone. Security is important, but there's this major debate going on. If you take yourself out of cryptos and blockchain, and you focus on the bigger issues at hand, we're seeing our privacy being invaded in so many different ways. Technology is not only helping that, but we're seeing the government take it to levels where it's not just cameras on the streets and everything is digitalized, tracked, computerized. It's like George Orwell's 1984 Big Brother has been happening, the surveillance aspect of it. So even we have to find ways where we can have protection from the government, in so to speak, because eventually, and the debate also revolves around, can the people, 95% of the people, ever beat the 1%? And in my opinion, as things stand, as systems are right now, I do feel that they can't be outdone right now, unless there's revolutions on a global scale. I mean, with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrencies in particular, that was almost like a call to arms, like a warning shot of what's possible. However, they've come into the space within the 10 years and have been actively working, not only monitoring, but they have been making moves to take actions. And now, knowing what they know a lot more than we will ever know. That's a fact. And they are entrusted by their citizens to protect them, to do what's right for them. But we know when there's powerful lobbyists, when there's powerful people, the 2%, the 5%, the elites, we know that there's a lot of things being done behind our backs and without our knowledge, for our protection. That is, if everything was to be truly found out, there'd probably be riots in the streets, there'd probably be disorder, chaos, there'd probably be recessions and depressions that happen. In fact, there is an economy experts are saying that there is an impending a recession coming. So, and the fact that with the USD, with the US dollar, it is on a downward trend right now. It is declining in value and it's not backed by anything. So to see alternatives coming up and really challenge fiat, challenge old ideas and thinking of how we define value, how we transact with each other. Cutting out the middleman is such a powerful concept. The peer-to-peer network is such a I mean, we already have examples of that beforehand, but to apply it to a monetary basis is incredibly powerful, because essentially if you have control over your money, you really have control over all aspects. We have to really think about what this means on a larger level, that they feel that they're going to come in with their versions of cryptocurrencies or their versions of stable coins, have centralized features, have features that is very similar to what we have in the traditional space, in order to maintain control, in order to maintain power, in order to monitor their citizens, their investors, under the guise of for their protection, for their peace of mind, for their security, and so on. And so this is something we have to, I'm not saying we can't go out there and use these stable coins and use it for trading and arbitrage. By all means we can. And certainly we should always be prepared regardless of what happens in the market, right? So we just have to be aware is what the point I'm making, because they will try and dress it up in a certain way to suit their agenda, not necessarily ours. So as long as you're aware of this, then you can always have a mindset going on when you're purchasing if you purchase these stable coins, you be like, okay, I have factored in this possibility. This could happen, that could happen. I'm okay with the risks involved. I will allocate properly and take my position properly, and this is the strategy I'm going to use, and I'm happy with this. And the worst, literally the worst that can happen is if Gemini decides to freeze this or make it non-transferable. If the worst should happen, are you able to sleep at night? Are you able to go with your day, with your week, knowing that you've counted that risk, you've absorbed that risk, so you're okay. You have other funds, you have other assets that you've diversified away. So as long as you have this in your mind, then you're essentially you're protected. It does already give you peace of mind. But it's really fascinating because we are like, when we see, if you've noticed in the news as well, with big money coming in, with these custodial solutions being built, with regulations, people waiting for regulatory clarity, and for that to be start to come into the space to find a compromise. However, it is, even if they find a compromise, it's still something where you'd have to think twice about what it really means. Because if depending if you're there to trade within a few days, within a few weeks, just trade and accumulate, or whether you're looking to buy and hold, or any number of things, options that you have, just factor in that anything in this space, because it's not regulated, even if regulation does come in, there would have to be a compromise to the ethos, to what this space should have been, but it currently isn't representative of the ideals of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, and there is manipulation going on. And we have to decide with our dollars, with our money, with our funds, with our tokens, what kind of blockchain, what kind of cryptocurrencies we want to see, how we're going to shape this. And this is why education is so paramount in this space, because if you have and you know, with mainstream adoption, it's great. If you have the majority of the world coming into the space, fantastic. But where is their funds? Where is their funds placed? Is it mostly in centralized exchanges, centralized projects, centralized platforms? Where is the funds? What proportion of those funds will be held in with people, with organizations and projects that really do have, whether it's for their best interest of the users, or whether it's the best interest of those owners, or the people involved at the top? I mean, is this just another, are we seeing a representation of what we're currently seeing in the Matrix? So we have to be not scared, but just aware, be ready, be prepared mentally, and also just have this view that this is either way, this is a very volatile asset right now, very risky, even with the stables coins coming in, being introduced. And also with the expectation altcoins, a large degree of the projects out there, they don't have enough real world use cases. They may not have strong community backing, and some of the roadmap, some of the features that they have, there may be prototypes only and not even a working product. There's several fundamental factors we have to look at that, and just see overall, we just have to find out for ourselves, not really rely on what's been reported, but really trying to get an idea from different areas, whether this is a really, like, even from the community, if you engage from the people that are investing, because if you look at all the different arguments being made, it does give you clarity on some respect, but again, a lot of people, especially when you have hype, and last year we saw what happened with the euphoria, the stage of euphoria, when people that didn't know what it meant or what it's about, literally just on speculation purposes, came into the market and drove the price up, and also over-the-counter trading as well. That also helped with that. So we have to be very careful. Just be prepared where we are right now in the space. I'm long-term bullish in the space. I see the developments happening, and regardless of the things happening right now, there's a huge potential upside in the market. However, I do now question the real intentions of what these centralized exchanges, centralized platforms, and people who are in favor of centralization, to have the benefits of that and put it in this space. I do question their motives now a lot more, and not just even with all the bullish developments we see, we have to look at not only what the power players are doing, but essentially how they're getting ready in this space. What are the governments doing to get ready? What are the companies doing to get ready? What are the industry leaders doing to get ready? By all means, we've seen real world use case scenario that cannot be real world use cases where we have demonstrated and it's proven that we have seen efficiencies, cost savings, transparency, people's lives being saved. I keep quoting Venezuela and Zimbabwe because it's true, because of their devalued sovereign, currency. They have to literally take bags full of fiat of their cash that keeps getting devalued every day, and they're taking it out from their savings account and putting it to Bitcoin, because that's actually far more stable than the Bolivar, for example. So it is having a real world impact. If it means you can feed your babies and your family and whatnot, that is a real positive impact. However, you have to look at this overall as well on a macro level and see what the real intentions are behind these big players. We know if we're going to use their past examples, past behavior, their track record, it doesn't look good, basically. But having said that, is this space the battleground? Is this where we fight back? Is this where we're like, okay, you have your centralized coin, you have your centralized project, but here's the decentralized version of it. Here's what we want instead. And so this is why I believe, in my opinion, decentralized exchanges, decentralized stable coins, decentralized platforms is the way to go. Anything that truly tries to represent as much as they can why this space was even created in the first place, and the advantages and benefits. It's all about control. This is how I see it. It's all about control. And if they're using different mechanisms, different options, however way you address it, if it's not just the financial gains, as I keep saying in this space, but the technology truly does open up so many opportunities. And really at the core of this, Satoshi was trying to solve a major problem. And so with that, or several problems, I should say. And so we have to come into we already have projects, we have well-intentioned developers, well-intentioned stakeholders coming in for the right reasons, and really truly because they know the value. If other people see the value in this and they come in and there's adoption, they know the money, the appreciation is a byproduct of it. So we have to understand that if we're going to have a system, an alternative system to how things are currently done, we have to try and make it as true to what we initially planned it to be, and that players will come in the space for their own gains, for their own agendas. Everyone in this space is trying to craft something that will work for them, something to their advantage. And also there are people that actually care about solving problems to major problems that we have in our world, like poverty. And another thing is that we talk about the tangible benefits, but what about the intangible benefits? Is how can you put a price on how people feel, or how people like the you can't put a price on what happens on a spiritual level, mental level. And so this is why we need to have a real well-reasoned, logical, looking at both sides, looking at the pros and cons. We have to, we have so much scope because it's a new ground, because it's such a new space where we've got problems, we've got issues, we've got people coming in, we've got bad players, we've got scams, we've got many issues in this space. However, we shouldn't be necessarily scared off by that, but we must not get, I mean, this is my opinion, I'm certainly not going to get carried away. I'm going to literally rein myself back, look at this more objectively, and say, okay, we've got these seemingly good developments happening in a space. That's good. More people learning. Oh, by the way, with the mining community, this is despite the down market. And this is, this is surprising, but it's actually happening. You can look up the facts and stats on this. That the mining community, the hash rate, the contribution of the hash rate to the Bitcoin network is actually increasing, not decreasing. And that's because miners have placed a bet, essentially saying that they're going to take a cut of their profit. They're not getting as much as they used to when it was a bull market. And also they're hedging their bets. They're also thinking and believing at some point the market will recover, and that they are going to make larger profits in the run. And also they're risking the potential of making losses. So even if we see the price go beyond 6,000, it goes to 4,000, 3,000, 1,000, there's a percentage of miners that are prepared for that doomsday scenario as well. And they have been accumulating, so a percentage of them have been getting ready for that moment as well. And we don't know specifically how this will transpire, because we've never been in a situation where we saw the price go up to 20,000 and now it's gone to 6,000 something, or when it does break that. If and when it breaks that level, it will be interesting to see how the different groups, the mining groups, will react. But they're certainly getting strategies ready. They're certainly getting themselves prepared for any eventuality. And that's exactly what we need to do as well. And so, some of the also with the mining community, it's centralized to some respect as well. You have big players, the biggest players in China. There's also concern about dirty mining, so they're using coal, they're using fossil fuels that is contributing towards pollution and climate change. That has to be addressed, and it has to be addressed immediately, because we do not want a situation where if we're going to scale up the industry, and we're going to have a worldwide adoption, we can't be the ones that be able to enable this, and so this is even far worse than where we're currently at. So we're literally speeding up the climate the decline of the air quality of the ozone layer and so on. So the good news, though, is that there are companies and projects and even governments supporting mining using renewable energy. And that is the way to go. That has to, as far as I'm concerned, my opinion, but that has to be the way forward. And we have to do that by incentivizing behavior. We have to incentivize what will help humanity and decentivize or discourage actions and behaviors that will allow human greed and so on to come into this space and be able to make things worse, not better. And so we really have to, with the individual power we have and the collective power we have coming into the space, we really have to educate ourselves on what's going on. And so coming back to the point with the stable coins in particular, we have to really give it thought to not just making short-term gains, but really what this means for us, and who's watching us, who's going to have a degree of power over us. And so this really does spark heated debate. It really does make you think that, with the elite, that at some point they're going to try. They are already coming up with ways that they're coming up with hedge funds, trading desks, with certain things to be able to, it has to be institutional grade custody. It has to be a structure that will support and protect them, not necessarily us. So, but here's the thing, though, as I said, with having decentralized stable coins or decentralized platforms and applications, that is how I feel that's how we counteract some of the potential negative effects of centralized centralized projects and centralized networks, platforms, coins, and so on. So we really have to remember why this space was created in the first place, how this is going to benefit us. And despite the manipulation, we have to figure out strategies how to either make that work to our advantage, we can ride the wave, or find a way to be able to protect our own portfolios, our own mentality, because a lot of this, the market is psychological too. So we have to find ways to put a shield up and protect ourselves at all times, look after our own interests. And so this is why I feel with USD, with GUSD in particular, yes, you can make gains using that stable coins, but I do also keep in mind that if I do put my funds in there at any given time in the future, if they decide to freeze those coins, they can do so. They have 100, and let's say, even if the government didn't if the regulators didn't tell them to do that, the fact that the way it's structured, the exchange, they have total control over the coins. And so I don't like the fact, me personally, that the tokens can be turned into non-transferable assets. So that means if you wanted to change it to something else, that you can't do that. They stop that, and that your account can be frozen. Again, that reminds me of the traditional bank accounts, the checking accounts we have. I've seen reports as well, and I don't know if you have too, but innocent people getting caught up when they try to cash out their cryptocurrencies and they send it to their checking account. If that investor is not aware of the crypto policies of that bank, that they may just, without warning, the bank may just freeze their assets, and in some cases shut down, close the account, and then send you a letter and not knowing whether you're going to get your money back or not. That is pretty scary, especially if you know, the funds, the gains that you've made in the market, if you didn't if you try to liquidate all of it and not just a percentage, or you know, you didn't spread it, you didn't send it anywhere else to be kept, you really have to be careful, and really do your due diligence and find out which banks, which institutions, what policy, what is their policy on blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies. Find out, you know, what they do in regards to putting deposits and also spending. I know with some companies like Wells Fargo, they banned, they don't allow you to use your credit card to buy cryptocurrencies. However, this is an evolving space. This is constantly changing. And so in the UK, for example, the majority of the banks right now, they do allow you to use your debit card to purchase Bitcoins, but there are some that clearly say, no, we don't do that. And some of them are in the middle. They don't know what their policy will be. So whilst they're trying to figure that out, you need to protect yourself. You need to ensure, I mean, in my opinion, what I used to do when I came into the market, and I used to cash it out and cash a percentage out to my checking account. I read up on the policy first.
Asmeret,
Yeah.
do you mind for interrupting, because my laptop is
Oh yeah, sure.
I want to make sure I share this just in case we get disconnected. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just for the people that are watching the markets, we've been discussing a potential fall in Bitcoin and the altcoins. So I just want to show you guys 2 coins that I spoke on. Bitcoin, obviously, because everybody's concerned about Bitcoin. And I want to talk about Monero. I think Monero is a very interesting coin. I like the technicals on Monero, and the crypto community has nominated Monero as being this coin that's bucking the trend, and it's never going to go down because of its privacy and whatnot. So I just want to show you guys a different perspective. So when I speak on this, I get people that are all scared and worked up and anxious. So what I say to those people is, get out the market. Facts. If you can't handle volatility, you can't handle things going up and down. When I go on camera and I talk my shit and y'all get all emotional about it, 1, you can kiss my ass. 2, get out the market. So I just want to make that very, very clear to everyone that when I share these charts, when I share my perspective, they get all upset, all emotional. When I do this, I do it from my perspective. I'm not saying I'm I'm right all the time. I make money on trades. I lose money on trades. It's part of the thing. But since I've been doing these videos and sharing my perspective, and people have been losing 50, 60, 80% of their accounts, and then they sell at the bottom, they want to get mad at me because I told them an honest perspective of what's going to happen. So my bias isn't for Bitcoin, isn't against Bitcoin. My bias is to whatever's trending up, whatever's trending down. That's my bias. I want to draw the distinction. It's that crypto Azzy should look at things from a fundamentals perspective, a holistic perspective. Should look at the details, developments, all these things. And I learn and I benefit from that. I just look at the numbers. Is it up or is it down? So learn to balance, take things into account, and save your criticism. You know, dealings over feelings. If you want to see what I'm doing, if you care about whether Bitcoin goes up or down or not, then you might have a preference for my content. If you believe in the solvency and in the Bitcoin becoming a standard unit measure of account and all this revolution in technology, you may have a preference for crypto Azzy. So with that being said, let's get to the charts. 1 second. Hold on.
Guys, after Aking is done with the charts, I am going to speak about MT Gox as well. So
I forgot I had some things pulled up. I want to just close this out real quick.
Okay.
Information. My theme song for cryptocurrency right now is "Cut It" by OT Genesis.
Okay.
All right, so you don't know about OT Genesis. Stop it. I'm just messing with you. Hold on.
Sorry, I'm just also reading the comments.
Somebody's mad. I can't believe he told me to kiss his ass. What's wrong? I'm gonna call on him.
You know, you're controversial. You know that, King.
Yeah, man. People really think like it's crazy. Like it's so crazy. A young black man speaking his mind, and people have an issue with it. You know, behind their computer screens, like you don't like what I'm doing, do something better. And the only thing is, if I was giving these charts like in 2017, when I was bullish, everyone loved me. I was the people's champ. Then in 2018, I'm speaking a different narrative, and everybody hates me. I can't believe you're this and you're that. You're supposed to be saying this. Like, I'm just gonna tell y'all what I think. You like, you don't, you don't. Hold on. Cut it. Cut it. It's gonna be shorted. And I'm just Asmeret, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh, because then you'll be culpable. You're supposed to look at me like shame on you.
Yeah, I do tell him off, guys, in case you're wondering.
Really does. She really does. She'll be like, Yusuf, did you have to say that? Okay, hold on. So this is Monero. So this is why I'm extremely bearish on Monero. I'm actually getting ready to add to my short positions on Monero. So let's take a look at price action, right? Did I chart this thing already? Oh, yeah, I did. Good thing. All right, so look at Monero, guys. This black line is resistance. Man, it's mosquitoes. I would step on the porch, and I'm getting bit. Okay, so this black line is resistance. It's the strongest resistance in Monero's freaking life. It took Monero about 200 days to build this level of resistance. Let me see, date range. So let's see. Yeah, 200 days for us to build this level of resistance. So guys, that level of resistance was at approximately $155. So why in the world do you think, so for us to get to $155, it took us approximately, and this is just from Bitfinex, it doesn't give me all the data, but it took us approximately a year to get us to $155, right? So once we get to 155, and that's a lot of buying for a whole year from Bitfinex, it doesn't give me any data prior, to get to 155, then we break 155, we stay above 155 for 203 days. Then we break below it. So whenever we see this big break from these critical levels, we have to pay attention to it. We have to pay attention to it. We have to pay attention to it. Dealings over feelings. Get your feelings out the game. If you're holding cryptocurrency, because this is what you want to do, this is your space, and you believe in the space, believe in it. For those that are looking at things from an investing standpoint, what's going up and down, this is for you. So we broke down from 155, right? We retested, and let me show you guys price. Price is such a beautiful thing. We retested the 155. We had an anchor candle here, this wick. So this weekly wick says that price will never in its life again come above 167. That's what it said. So even though we've clearly been a bear market, I've been taking some sales, holding my sell positions. I try to get cute and take a small buy position. I took a small loss on it, but it was a very small, high risk buy position. I thought I could scalp the market for a few points. So trust and believe when I say, and I'm giving this information, I know the general direction. I try to play both sides. Sometimes I get my hands burnt for reaching a cookie jar, trying to be too greedy. It is what it is. So Monero has given us this bearish pennant, in my view, under the most critical level of resistance in its lifetime. This is the most critical resistance level in Monero's lifetime. Hear me. The most critical level of resistance in Monero's lifetime. What else did Monero give us? Let's take a look. We got another ankle candle right here. What does that mean? That means price will never go above 141. I thought I could scalp it to 132. I got greedy, but that didn't happen. So I don't see the market in just one perspective. I look at it in two perspectives. This weekly candle says we will not go above 142. So that was already written. Guys, let me tell you something. Even we break bullish, which is extremely unlikely, we break bullish, we're going back to 150-ish maximum. And that's extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely. There's a million different confluences I can give you, different oscillators, indicators, different ways to look at this market. I'm giving you guys the nuts and barrels and bolts because I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about and not slam a whole bunch of things. But if you do want to see more details, go to the Black Blockchain Investing group. I posted a much more in-detail chart. And I spoke on this in a lot more specifics for the TA guys, the technical readers that want to see my ideas and my plots. So with that being said, when we break down from this pennant, we're going to break down something violently. There's a possibility we might buy up a little bit more, but that possibility is not even high. Like right now, all the favor is to the bears. The bears have spoken. Big money has spoken. They're saying they want to take Monero down. I want to take Monero down to about $50. After $50, I want to take it down to 35. I'm going to short the market. I'm going to short it down to 50, then to 35. And when we break out the structure, I am summoning shorts from my ancestors. You don't understand. I'll be extremely, extremely heavy in my position in Monero. I feel like that's going to be my Lambo ticket. If you guys want Lambos, you could buy and hope, or some of you guys call hodl, or you could try to be more strategic. So like in 2017, so here's the thing, and I thought about this a lot, like the hodl strategy, right? So if you would have held in 2017, you would have seen 20K. So it's like, how can you dismiss a strategy that's got you to 20K and then brought you back down to 6? So it's like the only way you see 20K is if you hold, right? Like from beginning to end, which is in a great argument. And I think crypto Azzy has a lot of great reason to be long-term bullish on the market. My position is that that is very true. My only thing is with people that I see that adapt this strategy, let's say they have 10K in the market, right? Forget that. Let's say they have 1K in the market. They go from 1K to like 20 to like, let's say 3K from alts or whatever it is, and then 3K to like $500. So why at that point you didn't just take some money out, take your initial investment plus 20%, and then just, play with the rest. So I'm not, if you are long-term bullish and you love the space, you feel like this is the right space and we're going to see amazing returns, then that's your choice. That's your preference. I'm more neutral. I'm a lot more fluid, and I think price tells everything. So if and when we go bullish, I'll be there. If and when we go bearish, I'll be there. But I just wanted to have a little bit of more common sense, like take your initial investment out at least, and then play with the rest. And if that is too radical, if that's so insane, if that's me being a hater, then I'm just gonna have to be that. Because what I actually get in my inboxes is people down 50, 60, 80% of their money, of their initial investment. So I don't think that's cool either. So that's how I see Monero. I think Monero is going to drop all the way back down to this level right here, maybe even down here, that 40, 50 to $60 range right around here. That's where we're going to find some support. So I'm actually going to load up on Monero. So, and to give you guys an idea of risk versus reward, I'm gonna show you guys this. So this would be my risk versus reward. Monero could go bullish, right? So that's my risk. My reward, let's say here. Hey, that's 1 to 1.5. That's not bad. Or let's say it's right here. It's 1 to 2.25. That's not bad. So that's a pretty decent risk to reward. You give me higher probabilities with the risk to reward in my favor. It's a solid trade to take. And honestly, I don't think we're even going to see that much of a drawdown, but I have to, be fair. We'll say 1 to 2.5 risk to reward with a probability, the edge in my favor in the market. It's a trade that I would take, 10 out of 10 times. That's just how I see it. So let's take a look at Bitcoin on the weekly. So here's Bitcoin on the weekly, guys. You remember we took 4 weeks to buy up, 2 weeks to buy down, 3 weeks to buy up, 1 week to buy down. We popped a little bit, and then now we're selling down. So guys, I honestly had Bitcoin going to $6,600, $6,800. We got to $6,590 or something like that. But I really thought we was gonna get at least one good push to at least $6,800. I've been loud and bold on the record. I really, honestly, truly thought that was going to happen. That would have been my plan. And here's the reason why. Because with this, oh, look at that. I'm on top of things today. I already charted it. So the top of right here, the $6,600 range, that's the top of the descending triangle, right? So I thought we'll get to at least here, maybe even here to kind of fake some people back into the market at $6,800, having them think that, you know, we're bullish or we're not. And it doesn't even appear as of today that $6,800 was even on the table. So I want you guys to understand this. It's not that I'm just bearish. Like, I look at different perspectives. And if you're in cryptocurrency, the only thing you see is up, you, sir or ma'am, is investing in a very dangerous way. You know, like, what trips me out is that anything that goes up has to come down, but everything that goes down doesn't have to go up. That's what you guys have to understand. So when you're in a bearish climate, if you have to really have conviction that this thing is turning back around and going up higher. And for you to experience an 80%, 90% discounted price because of your convictions, I just think that's a very bold testament. To be honest, I think it's stupid. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do think it's stupid. I think it's stupid to give back 80% of your profits. I just think that's stupid. So, especially in such a new emergent technology like, like in blockchain, Bitcoin, etc., I just feel that's a little stupid. So, but you can argue that from both sides. Maybe you never had the 80% if you didn't hold. You know, it just depends when and where you got into the market. But whatever you do, I would just say, you know, moving forward, that if you're investing in a highly speculative asset and you do see some gains, just take your initial investment out, plus 10%, plus 20%, then play with the rest, play with the rest. So you're not pigeonholed. You're not stuck in a position where you're hoping and praying the market goes back up, and because your portfolio has taken such a big beat down. So, that's water underneath the bridge now. If you did that, congratulations. If you invested what you can afford to lose, congratulations. If you didn't do that, you invested too heavy and you're losing money in portfolio, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. That's investing, boys and girls. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money. Next time, I would just say be more disciplined and not overextend yourself. But as of right now, if Bitcoin drops below $6,200, I would have a very hard time giving it another push up towards the upside. I would just have a very hard time. The contrarian position is that the shorts are stacked so high, we're setting up an environment for a short squeeze. So that means we could drop down and spike back up out of nowhere, maybe BitMEX go under maintenance again, or some type of scam of manipulation of price. That's a possibility, so I'm very cognizant and aware of that. So if you are short in the market, I would say don't over leverage, because shorts are so stacked in the market, a good short liquidation sale could occur. So we just have to prepare ourselves for those black swan events, and any event for that matter. So, but as of right now, I couldn't be more bearish. Crypto Azzy, I couldn't be more bearish. I just think no matter how we slice this thing, we're going down to 5K, we're going down to 3K. No matter how we slice it, 4,800 is the next target, 3K is the next, 3K, 3,300. No matter how we dress this monkey up, no matter how many trips around the block we go, no matter how many CCN articles you post, no matter how much institutional investors, so this is what they do. They put out bullish news and they sell price. It's crazy. I need to go live. I want to go live with another gentleman from the DU as well. He speaks on making money in the bearish market. I'm going to speak on, market makers, how to manipulate price. So yeah, take it how y'all want to take it. But what we're not going to do is get all sensitive and emotional and get mad just when someone presents a perspective to you that doesn't align with your biases. Like, people are so biased in the space, it's disgusting. Like, let's just look at everything in a totalitarian view. And see, here's the thing. If I don't offer this perspective, then the same people who sell at the bottom because they're panicking, they're going to be like, oh, why didn't somebody tell me? If y'all were experts, why didn't somebody let me know? You can't have it both ways. Grow up. Grow up. So, last week I was a little more coy because I was just a little bit more like, all right, these guys are sensitive, just going to back away. This week I'm stepping on necks. If you don't like it, deal with it. I'm going to tell y'all what it is, how I see it, how I feel about it, and that's just what's up. And I'm going to take some more positions today and see what happens. If I lose some money, I lose some money. But I guarantee you one thing, the money I lose is not going to be 80% of my account. It's not going to be 90% of my account, because I can manage my risk that way. So if I'm actively looking how to manage my risk, actively looking at how to hedge my bets, how to insulate myself. I'm actively looking for that. I'm not just taking one position and closing my eyes. And the reason why hodling and buying the dips is so appealing is because you don't have to take no responsibility. Oh, you don't lose money unless you sell. That's the biggest crock of crap, which is technically true, but you don't have to take no responsibility. If I get in a trade and I lose money, I have to take responsibility for the own that. Yes, ma'am, I lost $100. Yes, sir, I lost $1,000. I have to take responsibility. But you're just holding and buying the dip. You have no responsibility to take because you're never getting out the market. Whether it's up or down, you're just staying in there. So regardless of whatever it is, I'm just going to offer a different perspective, a different dynamic, and I'm going to take responsibility when I lose money. I'm going to take responsibility when I make money. And if I lose 80% of my account, then I'm no better than anyone else here that held from the beginning of the year. But if things go the way that I think it's going to go, it's going to be 5, 6, and 7-figure paydays for a lot of people that short in the market. That's just how I see it. If it doesn't go, then I might lose a couple $100. But if it goes the way that I think it will go, where the probabilities are, we're looking 5, 6, 7-figure paydays for a lot of people that short in the market, which is going to be an exciting thing. I want to be on the wealth transfer in part, not the wealth transfer out part. So that's just my perspective, my position. I'll let you get back, Crypto Azzy, and do your thing. You're always killing it with the great stuff. Super inspirational, super optimistic, super informative. I couldn't appreciate you more. So I'll let you get back to your stuff, and I'm out of here.
Thank you. We've run out of time, but I really wanted to mention this because there has been speculation going around. If you remember, there was a movement of over $1 billion worth of Bitcoins, and the market was speculating whether this was related to Silk Road or Mt. Gox or some other thing. And so there was a clarification by WIZSec. They came out with a statement clarifying their statement, saying that the Bitcoins do not belong to Mt. Gox, but it belongs to someone else who bought it during that time frame. And I wanted to mention Mt. Gox because there is a deadline. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but October the 22nd is the deadline for the creditors to the investors that lost their money in 2014 when Mt. Gox was hacked and filed for bankruptcy. They have until October the 22nd to file these claims. That's the deadline. And if you remember that there's 160,000 Bitcoins it's holding, and it will be paid out at current valuations, not when it was 2014 valuation. And that's why they changed the procedure from bankruptcy to civil proceedings, because that is civil rehabilitation, because that would allow them to get paid at today's prices, which obviously it's a silver lining. It's a blessing in disguise because they get to have the appreciation since then. It's not what they wanted. Eventually, at that point, they wanted access to their money, but it kind of worked out in their favor with the rise of Bitcoin's price over the years. And so what's interesting to note is that the payout, they're still going through the proceedings right now. The payout hasn't started, but that is expected. The deadline for submitting the civil rehabilitation plan is February the 14th next year, and it's several months behind the standard schedule. But then the payout at some point is scheduled to start in May or June 2019 next year. So potentially we have this period where if we don't have a fundamental shift in sentiment, where we see the bottoming out and market reversal, if that doesn't happen between any time between now and February or up until May and June, we could see whatever that transpires next summer. We could potentially, this is my opinion, we could potentially see an extended bear market into that. But the people in charge of this civil rehabilitation, they have taken expert advice, and and it makes so much sense to go for drip style release of the funds, and they are going to get paid in Bitcoins, by the way. But there's no guarantees. Obviously, we don't know how many percentage of these creditors will look to liquidate. I'm sure they're going to get expert advice as well, whether they should hold or liquidate. But here's the thing. If you remember, the price that they bought in 2014 was significantly low. They've already made their gains already. So I'm thinking, what's to stop them from cashing out and then buying back at a lower price? So there's that concern as well. Perhaps there's going to be a percentage that hodl, seeing how Bitcoin's price had been appreciating since their money was stolen. But again, because they've made the majority, I mean, you can't, it's undisputed. Like if you're happy with the amount of profit that you will get from cashing out in today's prices, by all means, there's literally nothing to stop you to do that. And the concern is what these creditors will do, these investors that claim their money back. Are they going to implement the professional advice that they're being given? Are they going to liquidate in such a way that as not to spook the market, not to scare the market? Because to liquidate 160,000 Bitcoin, it will affect the market, and it may extend the bear market for quite some time. So that is the major concern. So will there be a mechanism or something that will allow the creditors to do it in a drip fashion? And in some respect, normally we love transparency, but it may be with this case, knowing that the world, their eyes is on them, waiting for that to be liquidated, how much will be liquidated. People will take positions, they will speculate and take those positions beforehand. So once word does get out that the first tranches, the first part of the payments are started to be liquidated, if they find it out, there will be taken positions on that beforehand. So this whole period right now, where we're seeing uncertainty, the market doesn't like uncertainty. The fact there's uncertainty with the regulations as well, and investors, big money, although they've been buying over the counter, the majority of the funds, they're still waiting on the sidelines, ready to come in. So with a lot of and obviously it's in their interest to drive the price down even further, to depress it. So several things going on. Also, Mt. Gox was accused last year for helping to be one of the catalysts of the collapse in the price. So when it hit 20,000 and we saw it, people thought perhaps it's the CBOE and CME releasing the Bitcoin futures. But around that time, if you remember, and early this year, Mount Gox, what was I going to say? The person in charge of liquidating those, they did get permission from the court to do that, to liquidate some, but there was controversy about the timing and how it was done. So that apparently led to the price, the bear market that we're seeing. That was one of the reasons, one of the catalysts for that. However, what was found out was actually what whales have been doing is using the FUD, using the knowing that the market was going to react to the news and the sell-off. Mt. Gox took professional advice and made sure they did it in a fair way that wouldn't affect the market. But guess what? The whales did. They used that to their advantage, for them to go into the market and be the ones that sell off. So they're the ones that actually caused the collapse in price. But they were doing it on the back of the news with Mt. Gox and with other factors as well. So this is why the manipulation can get real. Like, you don't know to an extent who's really pulling the strings, but they have literally been using the FUD to their advantage to then take shorting positions and get to the market, get the price to where it is right now. So Mt. Gox, has been unfairly blamed, and they did. A lot of people don't know this, but they did take professional advice as to how they should liquidate. They did go by the books. They did do it correctly. But whales, knowing the impact and how the market works and how people respond, obviously used it to drive out dumb money. So with that being said, that's it for today. We've run out of time, but I hope you got value for that. Join us on Friday. Me and Aking Risen as usual. Aking, Yusuf, are you still there? Any final words?
I'm getting these shorts right now. Well, I've been in some shorts, but I'm actually adding to my short positions. So okay. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. The views that you heard from me and Asmeret are our views and not the views of anyone else. If you want to take shots, my inbox is open on Mondays. Today's Monday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, my inbox is open for all shots, negative criticism between the hours of 12 noon and 3. Between 12 and 3, my inbox is open. From there, from after that, it's closed. But now I'm making light of it. But seriously, if you want to learn how to take advantage of the market, whether it goes up or down, I would suggest looking into exchanges like BitMEX. There's ways you can trade with them. Looking into different exchanges that will allow you to take, sell and buy positions. I would say some people that I know do that. I'm not even telling you to do that. If for some reason you feel like the market could bottom out and you want to take advantage of that movement. So I'm telling you guys what I'm actually doing. When I buy cryptocurrency and plan on holding it, I'll let you know. Now, and I've said a million times that, does that mean I'm gonna get in at the best price? No, but it most likely what it will mean is that I'll have more capital to buy in at a much overall dollar price. So if you bought crypto, dollar cost average from 20K to 6K, your average price is what, 14K, something like that? Well, we're at 6K right now. So even if Bitcoin goes to 7,500, which I don't think that's going to happen, I'll be buying in heavy at 7,500, which is obviously a lot cheaper than 14K. So it's all how you perceive the market. If you think the market technical analysis doesn't matter and the market just moves however it wants to move, then, dollar cost averaging makes sense. For someone like myself that believes market moves in trends and cycles, dollar cost averaging doesn't make sense to me ever in life. So yeah, that's just my position. Hope you guys find some value out of my perspective, Asmeret's perspective. And yeah, to the next time, guys. Anything else, Asmeret?
No, that's it for today. Thank you.
All right. Peace, guys. Love.